Hi, my name is Anuradha and we are recording our very first cooking video. Although what we're doing today wouldn't technically be called cooking, but in any case, it's one of our very first food videos. So our channel is called Healing the Heart with Anuradha, and I really hope you've enjoyed our very first video about how to not gain weight during this time of isolation. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge this time in our world. I really hope that I'm going to be able to do this channel for the next 1 year or 5 years or 10 years. Cooking and healing and nutrition and health are all my passion, and I want to be able to be helping people for the next 20 years or so. So right now, when we're faced with this challenging time, I hope that in 1 year or 5 years, I'm able to look back on this time and remember this time. And at that time, in a year or 5 years, really have a feeling that we had a transformation as a collective whole, as the world, that we underwent some kind of transformation, which is very apt for the recipe that I'm going to share today. And that is of the way I make homemade yogurt. I've been making yogurt for several years now. And just like I'm sure you did, I got into the Instant Pot craze as well. And once I got my first Instant Pot, it really also transformed my life. I was preparing foods more, I was planning more, and of course I was very happy to not use my stove. Most recently, however, I use it for cooking apples and using the slow cooking feature, or I primarily use it for yogurt making or boiling beets or potatoes or big items like that. I find making yogurt in my Instant Pot is actually really simple, and I try to cut out a bunch of little steps here and there. And what I love is that the Instant Pot creates a kind of a controlled incubator, and in that way I'm not really concerned if there's a draft or if my yogurt is not warm enough. I'm really confident that when I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna have fresh, beautiful, sweet smelling yogurt. I feel very fortunate, especially at this time in this world, that I live on a very beautiful 2,500 acre farm. And on our farm, we have a barn. Our barn happens to be the oldest cow sanctuary in America. And we have beautiful milking cows. And I'm able to go there in the morning or the evening, visit some of my favorite cows or my favorite little calves, and then get milk. Sometimes if I have a friend to milk with me, I'm able to even milk the cows. So I'm able to get fresh milk from the cows. When I bring the milk home, it is warm in the container. Usually I bring the milk home in a container like this, and when I boil my milk, I put it back in here. It's the perfect size for me. It's about 500 milliliters, and it's a perfect size for my family. So, are you ready to make yogurt the easy, simple, quick way? Let's get started. So we start out, of course, with the milk. Now, a very important thing is to boil the milk really well. And not because you buy store-bought milk and it's already pasteurized or boiled, but mainly because an extra boil really helps break down all of the proteins in the milk. If you want to have more information on milk and proteins and caseins, you can just go Google and find a whole bunch of scientific facts about the milk, the proteins in milk. I really recommend bringing the milk to a boil, boiling it 2 or 3 times, and then leaving it at a rolling boil for about a minute or 2 minutes. I know people tend to say that a watched pot never boils, but trust me, a watched pot never boils over. So be sure that you're watching your pot so that the milk doesn't boil over. So once it's reached about 2 minutes of a rolling boil, I turn it off, and then I get all of my jars and everything ready. So the first thing I do is I always have a jar of fresh yogurt that is made about 8 ounces that I don't really touch and use for eating purposes. It's used for my culture purposes. So this is a size that I really love, and it's about 8 ounces. I can go for about 2 ounces as well, but I find this size really works for me, and it works in the Instant Pot that I use. The next thing that I do is cool the milk to the temperature that I need. I use a very simple method. And that is, I fill a bowl with water, and then I have a bowl on the top. This is where I put the milk in. So my bottom bowl has cold water, my top bowl is going to be the one that I cool the milk in. what I try to do is not cool all the milk at the same time. I try to just cool the batch that I need so that I can actually control what I'm doing and that the milk doesn't get too cold. So right now the milk is cooling, and I'll teach you a really nice trick to make sure that the milk is just the right temperature. If the milk is too cold, it's not going to culture so well. If the milk is too hot, it's going to maybe scald and kill the bacteria in your yogurt, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. I really like using mason jars. Specifically, I like using sometimes a wide mouth mason jar, or for that matter, this size of mason jar works really well for me. I like the look of this jar. It's very sleek and skinny, but it doesn't really always sit upright in one of these smaller Instant Pots. When I make yogurt in this jar, I usually have to make it sitting down like this. My method is really very simple. Like I said, I want to make things very simple for you, and that is with the culture yogurt, I just use about 3, oh, look at this. This is absolutely beautiful. You can even see how fresh and gorgeous it is. There is some yellow parts to it, which tells you that this milk is really, really rich. So I use about 3 nice heaping tablespoons of culture. And then I check to see if my milk is ready. And what I do is, I mean, if you have a laser thermometer or something like that, you can actually check if it's about 110 or 116 degrees Fahrenheit. Otherwise, I just use the finger method, and that is, I check if it's too hot or too cold. Sometimes what I would do is just stick my finger in, and if I can stick my finger into the yogurt and maybe say all the ABCs in my mind, then I know it's actually a really good temperature. But if I'm able to just hang out there and it's really tepid and lukewarm, you know your milk has become too cold. So I'm just gonna wait a little while here, and this is gonna cool. This is a really great method of cooling. Like I said, it allows me to cool smaller amounts of milk at the same time. So just to continue on, I also make flavored yogurts in this particular way. And my favorite type of flavored yogurt is using a berry compote. Usually in the summer, I pick a bunch of blueberries and I make different compotes and I keep in my fridge. And sometimes for about 8 ounces, all I need is about 2 tablespoons of berry. And then I put a little bit of water in it and give it a little mix. It doesn't have to be too runny, but this is going to serve as my dessert yogurt. And what I would do directly is put the berries in at the bottom. And you can put as much berries as you need. You can use all kinds of jams or compotes. I traditionally like a blueberry or a plum. And then the next step is I just place a little bit of culture over it. For about this size, which is 8 ounces, I'm only going to need about 1.5 to 2 tablespoons. So I have my dessert yogurt ready, as well as my regular plain yogurt ready. And like I said, I always get one of these sizes done. That serves as my culture yogurt. Now another little trick, but let me just check this milk. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, just a little bit hot. So we're just gonna wait for a little bit more. Another favorite recipe of mine is to actually make a turmeric milk yogurt. I bet you know about the trending golden chai or golden milk, right? It's the trending health food right now in the Ayurvedic scene and in general in the health world. And that is to boil milk with some ginger and turmeric, sometimes some sweet spices like cinnamon, clove, cardamom maybe. So this has all of those particular ingredients. What I do is I boil that, and then I let that cool down a little bit to yogurt making temperature, and then I culture that. I put some yogurt culture into that, and I culture that into yogurt, and that becomes my golden yogurt. And I love it. I love to be able to put it on my rice or my curries, or just eat it like that for that matter, even maybe adding a little bit of maple syrup or honey onto it. But that's something I really love, and I really love to share that with you. So I'm going to just check the milk, and it is perfect. Yes. So from here, all I do is I just pour the milk in here. this is also pretty cool. And I pour the milk into my dessert yogurt. Go ahead and close it up. And then I just put it into my Instant Pot. And I'm using the smallest Instant Pot. And because the Instant Pot has a really nice setting called the yogurt setting, which just basically keeps it at a very low temperature, like I said, at 110 degrees. Now the Instant Pot comes with one of these inserts, and quite honestly, I don't use the insert. I just go ahead and I put my yogurt directly into it, my yogurt jar. And the really nice part about this size is that it's able to fit 3 pint size and 1 little 8-ounce size. So I would go ahead and put it in. Like I said, I don't really need the insert. It's the perfect size. And so then we go ahead and put the Instant Pot lid on, and then we turn it to the lock position, and then turn the yogurt function on. Now on the Instant Pot, the way the yogurt function goes on is that it sets itself for 8 hours, and that's usually a really nice time to set yogurt. But as soon as it kind of gets into its yogurt making mode, you hear that sound? That means I'm in yogurt making mode. It starts off from the amount of time that it has been incubating. So very soon you'll see it go to 1 minute and 2 minutes, and that's telling you how much time has elapsed. So I will keep my yogurt in here until tomorrow morning, or until 8 hours has lapsed, and then open it, turn it off. I will have perfect yogurt. So the next step is to actually show you how to take that perfect yogurt and turn it into Greek yogurt. And that's a really simple way of doing so. Greek yogurt is basically yogurt with all of the whey removed. It's more thicker, it's more dense, it's more slippery. It's just really, really all kinds of deliciousness. And I do it in a very simple way. I just use one of my strainers. Just a very simple sieve like this, and a bowl, and a cheesecloth like this. And I drape it over, and I pour yogurt into it. Now in our household, we don't tend to have a lot of Greek yogurt, but there are days that I would like to have a very rich dessert. And that's what I do, is I just do a very, very simple method like this. And now all of the whey is you probably can't see it, yeah? But all of the whey is now straining. And then I just cover it, and I put it away in my fridge as it is. Now, depending on the thickness of your Greek yogurt, you want to keep it draining for about 4 hours or 5 hours, or overnight. For example, my Greek yogurt last night drained all night long. And this is what happened. It pretty much became very, very dry. Now this in Indian cuisine would be known as Srikhand. I could put some sweetener and some flavorings of my choice and just kind of knead it in, and trust me, it's an amazing dessert. So yeah, so in terms of Greek yogurt, just go ahead and drain it for as long as you think is necessary, and that's just going to happen with some trial and error as well. So let's go ahead and open this, and this is my flavored yogurt. This is something I really love, because at this time, especially with this climate and the changing of seasons, yogurt is so wonderful to have. It has probiotics, it's fermented foods, it's just all kinds of goodness for your body. So, yeah, smells wonderful. So I can go all the way in, and look. Oh, this is a plum compote, and I can even see pieces of plum in here. And as you can see, yogurt is really, really a wonderful consistency. So this becomes a really wonderful dessert to have. And you can see these big pieces of plum just in here. Okay, so well, that was my very simple way of making yogurt. Just quickly to recap, bring the milk to a rolling boil, boil for about 2 or 3, 2 minutes maybe, and then cool it down in batches using a bowl of cold water. And then go ahead and flavor your yogurts. Even maybe use a turmeric milk recipe to make yogurt. Put it into your Instant Pot. Don't worry about using this. If you have to, you can. But I love this particular size for my jars. And then wake up the next morning, 8 hours later, and you have beautiful, wonderful yogurt. So I'm going to place this recipe on my Facebook page, which is also called Healing the Heart with Anuradha. And if you make yogurt this particular way, please go ahead and take a picture and post it on my page and hashtag Healing the Heart with Anuradha or with Anuradha. And be sure to subscribe if you like this video. So I thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you make yogurt and you stop buying yogurt, because this is so much better to do so. Take care. Bye-bye. Until next time.